If I asked you what are the methods or techniques that you usually use when learning new material or studying for exams, many students, and you may be one of them, prefer to use highlighting, rereading, note-taking, summarizing, or simply memorizing information word for word. While working with these methods may make you feel productive, research has shown that these systems aren't effective. However, there is a study technique that has been proved to be effective for recalling information and studying for exams, and it's called active recall. So in this video, we're gonna see what is active recall, what is the scientific evidence behind it, active recall versus passive review, active recall versus recognition, and last but not least, the best strategies to practice active recall. So stay tuned. What is active recall? In a nutshell, active recall is basically testing yourself as much as you can on the material you want to learn. The major benefit of this method is that it stimulates your memory while you are learning. The act of pulling information from your memory not only improves your ability to remember information, but also strengthens connection between concepts in your brain. The scientific evidence behind active recall. Many students and learners undervalue the process of testing themselves while they are learning new material or studying for exams. However, research has shown that active recall enhances learning. In this research, there were 4 groups, and they were tasked to learn a material and then be tested on it later. The first group was supposed to just study the material for once. The second group was supposed to study the material 4 times. The third group was tasked to read the material once and then make a mind map. And the fourth group was supposed to read the material once and then just try to recall as much of the material as they possibly can. And here is the results. So, on verbatim questions, that is questions specifically from the text about factual things mentioned in the material, you can see that the group that studied the material just once performed the worst. And on the other hand, active recall group performs significantly better than the other groups. Then let's take these same groups and ask them inference questions. And actually these kind of questions require a kind of understanding of the material a bit more. And here is the results. As you can see, the group that studied for once performed the worst. The active recall group performed the best, and the other 2 groups performed alright. Again, active recall group, that is, students who kept testing themselves and writing down as much as they can remember from the text, performed better than the group who studied the text 4 times, and even from the group who relied on concept mapping. In the third phase of the study, and even before testing the students, the researchers asked them what they think the results of the study would be. Or in other words, they asked the students which of these study techniques would be the most effective. And these are the results. As you can see, the majority of students regarded repeated study as being the most effective technique, and active recall as the least effective. And this tells us that our intuitive presumption of what makes a study technique effective does not correspond to the evidence at all. Active recall versus passive review. We tend to feel productive while highlighting, summarizing, or rereading. These methods are just forms of passive review, and you should not confound them with active recall. Research has shown that highlighting, summarizing, and rereading are not effective. These approaches do not stimulate your memory for retrieving any piece of information. They just give you the illusions of competence. Active recall versus recognition. When it comes to learning, recognition means the ability to recognize a piece of information as being correct or true among a number of pieces of information. In other words, you have a list of suggested answers and all you have to do is to choose the right fact, idea, or statement which seems right to you. In this process, you are not pulling information from your memory. Active recall, on the other hand, refers to the ability to retrieve information from your memory. For example, when I gave you a question on a lesson that you have studied along with 3 suggested answers to choose from, your answer would be based on recognition. But if I gave you the same question with no suggestions to rely on, in this case, your answer would be based on active recall. The best strategies to practice active recall. Look away from the material and see what you can remember. It may be challenging for many of you to give up the habit of taking notes while reading your textbooks, though it's not effective. However, a better alternative you can try is taking notes while looking away from the textbook. Once you finish a page or chapter, look away from the textbook and see what you can recall. What are the chapter's most important ideas? Try to write them down in your own words. After you've done your best, go back to the textbook and check the points you missed. Repeating this process over and over will engrave information in your memory. Definement technique. Definement technique is one of the powerful methods that can help you recall information more efficiently. The concept is simple. Teach whatever you want to learn. This method consists of 4 major steps. First, choose a concept you want to learn about. Then, teach it to a child. It may be your little brother or cousin. Review and identify your knowledge gaps. Last but not least, organize, simplify, and create a story. Use simple language and include analogies to make your ideas unforgettable. Flashcards. Another useful technique that can help you use active recall effectively is using flashcards. The process of making flashcards can be time-consuming, but the benefits are enormous. Flashcards boost your mind's ability to recall, understand, and apply what you've learned in exams. From my own experience, the best flashcard app that I can recommend you to use is Anki. This flashcard app helps you to make online flashcards and study them along with spaced repetition. Making your own list of questions to the material you want to learn is considered one of the methods that will challenge you to make a huge cognitive effort and use an important part of your brain power. But believe me, it's worthwhile. Making your own study list questions while studying makes you an active learner who looks for raising interesting questions along with finding appropriate answers. Going through this process will for sure strengthen your understanding and improve your retention. So, did you find this technique useful? I'd love to hear from you below in the comments, and please let me know if you have any questions. For more insights like this, check out my website actionablehack.com. If you enjoyed this video, I would be very grateful if you give it a like and share. If you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe to get awesome videos like this, and click the little bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching and see you soon.